Hi YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to my kitchen and welcome back to another episode of Chow with Lau. And today we are going back to basics. This is what everybody should have in their cooking armory. I am going to teach you how to make boiled rice. Right guys, like I said, we are going back to basics today, and what could be more important than learning how to make boiled or steamed rice? What we're going to do is teach you how to do it without the use of a rice cooker. You don't need a rice cooker. Rice cookers are great, don't get me wrong, but most people don't have them, and actually it's very simple to do it in your own saucepan. A lot of people intimidated by this because of getting the measurements right and making sure you don't burn it, or it's really easy to make it too gloopy and wet to get the perfect steamed rice. It actually isn't very difficult if you know what to do, and today we are going to impart that knowledge into your brain straight through the internet. Okay, so stay with me and I'll show you a very easy way of doing it. It takes about 20-25 minutes in total. Very easy indeed. Right guys, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the actual rice itself. There's lots and lots of different types of rice on the market. For example, you can get risotto rice, sushi rice, which are definitely not suitable for doing boiled rice or steamed rice. Okay, they have their own specific purposes. What you tend to be looking for, what you'll find in the supermarkets, you'll definitely find American long grain rice. That's kind of your base model, if you like, and it's a perfectly good rice, but my favorite is something like jasmine rice. That comes from Thailand. It's a tiny bit fragrant, and what I mean by that isn't that it smells of flowers or anything. It just has a tiny subtle little fragrance, but the best thing about it is it holds its shape better when you boil it. It's got a slightly firmer texture. It doesn't stick together quite so much, and it's slightly less stodgy. So given the choice, that was the one I would recommend, the jasmine rice, but American long grain rice will do you fine. Don't get the Uncle Ben's, that's just cheating, boiling the bag stuff. If you want to do it that, of course you can, but it's cheating, let's face it. To make boiled rice, you need two ingredients. You need your rice and you need some water, okay? What I've got here is 3 cups of rice, the technical cups, not just a mug or a glass, right? The cups, which equates to around 350 grams of rice, okay? And I've got a jug of water. Actually, this isn't a specified quantity of water. This is just for demonstration purposes. And the reason for that is because it's not an exact measurement. Okay, I'll show you exactly how that works in a little bit. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the rice into a saucepan and we're going to wash it. We're going to run cold water over it and then drain it. Do that about 5 or 6 times, and that will take all the loose starch from the rice and it'll give you a cleaner rice, and it'll start to take out the little grains. And you don't want any kind of bits in your rice when you finish cooking it. You just want a nice clean grain. That's exactly what we're going for. So I'm just going to wash this in the sink. Right, so I've rinsed the rice out 5 or 6 times under running water, pouring it out, running under cold water, pouring it out 5 or 6 times to get rid of the starch, and we're left with this, which is a fairly clear water. It'll never go completely clear, but that's relatively clear. And now this is where the technical bit comes in. Okay, like I said, we don't really measure the amount of water in terms of how many milliliters or whatever. What we've done here, first of all, we started with the 3 cups or 350 grams of rice. Now that's going to feed about 3 or 4 people, okay? The reason why I've started with quite a large quantity, if you like, is because it's quite difficult to cook small quantities of rice, because then the measurements of water, the sort of proportion of water to rice, then becomes a little bit more fragile. It becomes easier to get it wrong. So this amount of rice and more is actually easier to get right, okay? So the good thing about this is you can have the steamed rice straight away with whatever dish you're having on that particular evening, and then anything else you can chill it, put it in the fridge, and then use it the next day to make egg fried rice or chicken fried rice or vegetable fried rice or whatever you want. So therefore you get another meal out of it, which is always useful. So if you're going to do anything like that, cook more than you need rather than exactly the quantities for a small quantity. You don't want to be trying to cook for just 1 or 2 people, because that's going to be really hard and quite wasteful actually, if you think about it, because there's quite a lot of energy wasted in doing 1 or 2 small portions. You might as well do quite a lot and then make it go further, and that makes it a little bit cheaper in the long run. So the secret is the amount of water we have in proportion to the rice. So what I've done, and this is a neat little trick, when you're cooking it in a saucepan of this size, this is quite a large saucepan, standard size, but large saucepan, right? And what it is, you put the water in, so where the level of the rice is, the water comes about 1 centimetre above that. And that should give you the perfect combination, the right proportions of rice to water, water to rice. Okay, fingers crossed. You never know what's going to happen on a video, but that is how I do it. Okay, sod's law, the first time I do it on video, it doesn't work, but here we go. So the next thing is we put it on the hob. Okay, and we whack the heat up full, put the lid on, and wait for it to come to a boil. Okay, once it comes to a boil, we turn the heat right down to the lowest setting so it just simmers away. And after that, you leave it with the lid on for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, probably closer to the 15 than 20. That should give you perfect boiled rice. Okay, so the rice and water has come to a boil, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to switch the heat right down and leave it for 15 minutes, after which it should be ready. Right guys, so we're ready. Wow. And look at that. So that 350 grams of rice has turned into quite a lot. And as you can see, nice fluffy texture. Loose, it's not too stodgy, it's not too dry. That's, I guess, the difficulty in finding this in the sweet spot. Okay, so I'm just going to pop some into here so you can see, steaming away. And there you go. Steamed rice, boiled rice. Get your taste buds ready. So there you go guys, the perfect boiled or steamed rice. Not too dry and definitely not too wet. It's nice, the grains are still nice and loose, and it's just the perfect texture. And this rice will go with any other dish practically that I've featured on my channel. So go ahead and make it yourself. Once you've got this skill, you'll have it for life. It's something you can use over and over and over again. It's not the easiest thing. People tend to be a bit afraid of cooking their own boiled rice. So once you've got this skill, it's something that you can show off and use whenever you want to. And it's such an economical way of eating. And obviously steamed and boiled rice takes on the flavour of all the other dishes you make. And that really enhances it. Enhances the whole experience of eating Chinese food. And it's such a good thing to do. Cool. So if you've liked what I've done today, if you like my other videos, please consider subscribing. If you haven't, hit that notification bell if you have, because then you'll be notified of all my videos coming up and all this goodness, all this Chinese cooking goodness. So take care guys, and I hopefully will see you in the next one. Bye bye.